The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
Today on Mr. Media, I'll talk to actress Chelsey Reist, one of the stars of the CW's popular drama The 100, which is all new every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Stick around. She's pretty, she's smart, and you don't want to see what she can do with a double-barreled shotgun aimed at you. Take my word for it, fellas. So much media, so little time. Who keeps track of it all? That would be me. This is Bob Andelman, and this is the Mr. Media Interview, brought to you today by Amazon.com. When you visit MrMedia.com and click on any of the links to purchase books, music, movies, gift certificates, or anything else through our Amazon link, you support this free video podcast. Whenever you need something else from Amazon, please consider returning to MrMedia.com to order it. It doesn't cost you any extra, and we sure appreciate the support. And don't forget, MrMedia.com has more than 1,200 celebrity audio and video interviews archived on the site. That's hundreds upon hundreds of hours free entertainment. Subscribe for free on MrMedia.com, and you'll instantly get an email every time a new interview is posted. You can also watch and subscribe to the show on YouTube, Vimeo, Dailymotion, the Realm Network, and Frequency.com. And if you prefer to just listen, Mr. Media is also available for free on iTunes, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Blueberry, TuneIn, Blog Talk Radio, Podfeed.net, and Player FM. You can subscribe to any of those services and never miss another episode. Finally, you can interact with Mr. Media Interviews on all kinds of social media, including Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and more. Friend or follow us, we'll friend or follow you back. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Mr. Media is recorded live before a studio audience of men and women who are fighting over which sex is more drawn to today's guest in the new media capital of the world, St. Petersburg, Florida. I cannot tell a lie. I like having pretty young women as guests on Mr. Media. There, my dirty little secret is out. But I still like to think I'm a discerning host. Good looks alone can't land you an invitation here. There has to be a hook, something that'll make good conversation. Now, I knew I wanted to talk to Chelsey Reist when I watched her 4-minute sizzle reel on IMDb.com. The first time I watched with the sound off, and it made me laugh, but in a good way. This ambitious young actress has been in every kind of stereotypical role old Hollywood puts someone of her age and gender into, from slutty woman in danger to seductress, from lesbian to straight, and back again. But she's also had her moments of feminist hurrahs, putting two young men at the end of her biblical anger and jumping on the back of someone threatening her boyfriend and letting loose with her fists for all she's worth. Oh, and I immediately recognized her from her Applebees TV commercial. Yep, that's true. So today, after a string of horror movie appearances, commercials, and guest spots on TV shows such as Person of Interest, The Tomorrow People, and Psych, Chelsey Reist has probably reached the current height of her young fame as a regular on the CW's popular series, The 100. She plays Harper, whose fate was left very much up in the air after the mid-season finale. The 100 returns to the air on Wednesday, January 21st at 9 p.m. And with that, Chelsey Reist, welcome to Mr. Media.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Glad to see I can make you laugh.
Yes.
And congratulations on your, very growing success. Am I right to say that the CW, the 100, is pretty much the top right now?
I think you would be right. I am finding myself feeling so grateful every day to have a role that not only has such a wide role that I really dig.
Well, let's start there for a minute. I was actually going to start somewhere else, but for folks who have not seen The 100, which is less of a problem for the CW than it was in years past.
Right.
People have it's a very action and adventure-oriented channel these days. Tell folks a little about The 100 and then where you fit in.
Okay, so The 100 takes place 97 years after a nuclear apocalypse ruins the Earth, and people can no longer the sky people. But our reserves are running low, and we have to check if Earth is habitable again. So they send down 100 juvenile delinquents who they consider expendable to see if we can live there again. So I play one of the juvenile delinquents. Ha! My name's Harper on the show, and as you said, I've had roles that definitely run the gamut between softer roles or a stronger female role, and this one's really exciting for me because right off the bat I have a gun. I'm a gunner in a character named Bellamy in his army, and I'm just there helping defend the 100 on Earth as we discover there may be more there than we thought.
And how has your role kind of evolved since you joined the show?
Oh, so massively! I'm so excited you asked because I don't think anyone knows this, but Harper started off as a 1-episode role, and when I auditioned, the breakdown said Harper meets a gruesome death, and so I went in. I'd heard about the show. I knew it was popular filming here. See, obviously, who wouldn't die to work for them, and. So I went in excited, and I auditioned, and I booked the role. And then I actually didn't hear that I booked the role till a Friday night late. I got a call from my agent, and they said, "Rush out! You have to get to set right now, and we want to put you through gun training right away." Which for me is awesome. That's just a dream come true. I love dark stuff. So.
I'm not surprised. I've seen the reel.
So I rushed there, did gun training, and we picked a look for the character, and then filmed the 1 episode. And the episode, as I said, was supposed to end with me dying. I was supposed to get touched by this violent disease that makes me vomit violently until death, and I didn't vomit. They just moved on, no matter what was happening, but I left set that day and my character was still alive, so I came home and celebrated with a glass of wine, or a bottle, I don't know. And then a few weeks later, they called me back and they said, Harper's back in another episode, and another episode, and another episode, and it's just continued since then. So it has grown from something so very, very small that I was grateful to have the 1 episode to something that I'm just blown away by how lucky I am to have this role.
It's awesome, especially that, your description of when you first got the role, that it was going to be the 1 episode, die a gruesome death. It's like, that's kind of your you know what I mean?
Yes.
I knew if I tried to say that word, it was not going to come out right.
It is. I really well. I just die well. And I book a lot of roles where I'm being tortured or pleading for my life. So it was nice to go in armed and ready to do what I love, and then have the chance to have the role expanded.
Well, and we'll come back to Harper before we're done, because I know there's some mystery about where Harper stands or lies at this point.
Yes, there is.
Tell me a little bit about the career that you're building, because as I mentioned, every stereotypical role, every trope, you seem to have been through it. Did you, when you start this type of career, do you anticipate? I mentioned, there's no denying you're pretty, you're young, you're a woman.
Thank you.
We know that there's there's this attitude in Hollywood that this is where we throw our young women. We throw them to the alligators, basically. Is that were you able to easily accept that at the start of your career? Was it frustrating?
I'll have to interrupt because in no way do I feel thrown to the alligators.
Okay.
Many roles of many different genres, and yes, just many things that would definitely make a person think, do I want to do this, have come to me, and for a long time I immediately said no. But I think as I've grown as a woman, I've grown as an artist, and I can understand that some of these things do play a part in a movie, and they serve their purpose, and therefore I really appreciate and can find a depth and a realism in that role. So I'm able to see it beyond just what serves, one would think, is just the traditional role playing of a young blonde. So with the support of my family and my agent, and accept these roles and feel very proud of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I don't mean to denigrate them.
No, of course not.
No, it's not that at all. It was interesting to see, some of the roles where you're the victim.
Yeah.
And then, I mentioned the double-barreled. I'm pretty sure it's a double-barreled shotgun. Where,
Sawed off.
Yeah, sawed off. There you go. Where it's kind of the Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween role.
Which is what I'm so happy you mentioned that, because I love that. I love that role. I love her in it, and I'm a really big horror buff. I can't recall the word you just used, but it was something along the lines of a victim.
Yeah.
If that might have been it. And I think from an early stage of my life, I've always felt a deep sympathy, and it really helps me put myself in the victim's shoes and feel deeply as a victim would. And so I really enjoy playing roles where I am placed as a victim, because I feel it. I truly feel it, and I'm able to embody it. And it's a fantastic way to have that life experience without being in an actual dangerous situation.
Well, so let's go back a little bit. Why did you become an actress? What motivated you to this path?
Wow. Why I became and why I still am are two totally separate reasons for sure. But I think the initial kick was a heartbreak. I was in love, madly in love for years in my hometown, and found out that was not going to work anymore. And things had just kind of been turned upside down. So I moved in with my brother. I tried to find a new way of life, and we were big fans of movies and TV. And so every night, in order to, my form of escapism into filmic reality was to watch Sopranos. So I watched Sopranos and just absolutely fell in love and was fascinated with Drea de Matteo, her character, all of the characters, and thought, isn't that an interesting way to take this heartbreak, this victimization, and make it useful and positive and show people that they can grow from their pain as well. So I up and moved to a different province here in Canada, to a university that is the only university that has an acting program. I obviously applied, but I was accepted from a video that I filmed in my parents' basement, a very embarrassing audition tape, and up and moved to Vancouver. I had never been here, but I knew it rained a lot. I loved the rain, and then began my university career in acting. And I graduated in 2009, and since then I've just been so working hard to keep pushing every day to accomplish something more in my career.
What was the first break? What was the first role that you got?
Oh, that's a cool story. Actually, during school, we weren't allowed to be auditioning until we had completed the degree program. So I decided to sign up for background acting to get a sense of a real life set, etc. And so a set of True Justice, which is a Steven Seagal series of movies. And this certain one happened to be directed by a man named Wayne Rose. And I had a scene where I was playing a white supremacist, meth-smoking biker girlfriend. Because that's what I look like, right? I don't know. And so I was between the two leads, and I had to smoke this meth pipe. And they were lighting it wrong. I had watched Interventions so many times that I knew that... So I just casually mentioned it, and I don't know if it was that, or later he said that he just thought I did a great job acting without words. But Wayne Rose approached the producers and said, we need to give her her first credit in the union. Can we please write a scene for her? Who does that happen to? Anyway... but the next episode, I got a call, and they had written a small scene for me. And so, yeah, I got to do a scene with Steven Seagal, and that became my first credit in the union.
Wow, very nice.
Yeah, yeah.
And then where does the, what I would consider to be the famous Applebees commercial, where does that fit into everything?
Yeah. I don't even remember when that was, I think, shortly after graduating, yes. I was doing... it was before, for the first few years of my career, I accomplished so much without an agent. I come from the school of hard work, and I have so much gumption and so much passion. I just threw myself into audition rooms without an agent for feature roles. But I did have a commercial agent, so that's all I was legitimately auditioning for. And with commercials, you really have to drop your ego and to make fun of yourself, and very cheesy, such as Applebees Wanted. And I booked it. So yeah, shortly after university is when that came.
That got a lot of play, if I'm not mistaken.
It did, actually. I think it aired at the Super Bowl and some networks. I'm not quite sure. Yeah.
It aired a lot.
I
saw.
Sorry.
I saw. No. I saw that clip with you, and I went, yeah. And what I thought about that was, that's the girl. This is why it's memorable. That's the girl that every guy walking into Applebee's, or if there were still Bennigan's or any of those places, that's the girl, the hostess, that every guy walking in there wants to leave with, and wants to fall in love with him when he leaves after he has his meal.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, yeah, that's the girl. I mean, that's So I mean, if we had never had this interview, I would still remember you from that commercial.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
and now, what about?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, what about?
I found no love at Applebee's, by the way.
Oh no, no, sorry. Well, you probably weren't. I mean, probably the only time you were there was to make the commercial. Right?
Well, I thought, yeah. There's not many in Canada, so that may be true. But Applebee's is amazing.
There you go. Call me. We'll talk. Yeah. Where do the horror movies fit into all this? Because I mean, I'm looking at you and I'm thinking, I mean, you could play Kaylee Cuoco's younger sister on Big Bang Theory. I mean,
that's what my father says all the time.
I mean, I'm just looking at you and I'm thinking, because we watched an episode last night, and this season, she got married last year, and ever since then, she's been kind of trimming back a little bit on being kind of the sexy young woman. She's cut back her hair. She's very respectable. She's playing the role differently. And I look at you and I go, oh my God, you could so easily be her younger sister on that show. So where does where do you wind up in horror movies? Whose bright idea is it to attack and hurt and bloody up this beautiful face?
Well, first of all, that would be amazing to play her sister, so call me there again. I maybe my look is a bit deceiving, but I'd like to consider myself a tomboy. And I as I said, my main draw initially was Sopranos, which is dark, and I love that. I just love the devious, sinewy, sinister emotions, and that's what I love about acting, is making people feel feelings that they are afraid of. And a lot of those feelings exist in horror movies. And being I love sitting back and watching days of Netflix of horror movies, drinking beers with the guys. It's just something I've always enjoyed. But what initially got me into that is my friend Rob Grant. I'm actually filming with him right now. He's the director of a movie I did called Mon Ami, which was in 30 international film festivals for horror and won tons of accolades. I just think he's truly an artistic genius. But he cast me out of university for the role with the shotgun, where I'm being kidnapped. And I remember that day thinking, I don't know if I can, I'm tired, I don't know about this audition, but I went in and I don't know if I can swear. I'm just going to say I lost my shit.
You can absolutely say that. Yeah. Absolutely.
I just love releasing my to emotions that would freak people out in a normal scenario. So horror movies allow me to scream and plead and cry and beg for my life, which is just so fun.
Really?
So he cast me in the role, and we were filming the day of the scene after I've been kidnapped, and I'm finally getting my revenge. And I remember we all broke for lunch, and he broke for a whiskey. He just said, I feel so badly what I'm doing to you. You're bawling, you're snotting, and I can't watch it. So then we made the movie, and it was released, and I got a lot of very positive responses about it. And since then, it's given me the confidence to follow the passion of freaking people out. Yeah. So it started there. I mean, yeah, I know I guess I don't look like somebody who would be into it, but I had my dark rocker stage. I had 17 fierce tattoos and with blue hair and shaved head in university. So I've kind of altered my look as I've grown, but the passion's still there.
Wow. I kind of lost my taste for horror movies around the time I had a daughter, and I thought, and I mean, I wasn't a big horror movie fan, but I'd seen them all to that point, probably, or most all, and was okay with it. And then it suddenly, people start talking about, the women and what they do to the young women, and the woman has sex or she has this, and suddenly she has to die. It's just the trope
Right.
of the movies. And I started thinking, maybe this isn't the right thing for me to be watching or participating in. And so actually, I haven't had any horror related guests on the show, I don't think, it's been 8 years now.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
yeah, so that's why I'm always curious about that. But I mean, it's been good for you career wise too, apparently.
It has. I think, as you were mentioning, since you had a daughter, my parents feel the same. They can't watch it. They just think they don't want to watch that being done to their daughter. As much as I try to convince them it's acting, it's not something that they enjoy watching for sure. But in terms of Mona horror that I've done or that I enjoy, I think a lot of the women are becoming stronger these days. And in Mon Ami, I do meet a fatal end, but I had my chance at redemption, and I had the strength to get the chance at redemption. A lot of the horror movies these days are starring large groups of women. Mammy Gummer, who's Meryl Streep's daughter, has been starring in a few lately, and I'm really enjoying watching just come up through that genre. I'd like to do more, for sure. Yeah, for horror. But so that's something that The 100 is doing as well, which is getting a lot of accolades, which I'm very happy for. The writers are writing strong females. And yes, there's violence, and I would definitely argue to extent there's horror in The 100. But the females are also wielding guns and also making the plans and fixing the machines and getting us to safety.
I'm gonna ask a favor here. You're slipping down a little bit in the screen, and every man watching this is gonna. There you go. Thank you. Every man watching this is gonna be like, "How did you let her slip out of the screen, Mr. Media? What is wrong with you?" So let's do this. Let's kind of separate the wheat from the chaff in terms of your the roles that you've had. What if you could pick out, say, 3 roles that you would really want people to know you for or to go and look for? What would they be? That you've already appeared in.
One of them that first comes to mind, unfortunately, was cut, and that happens a lot to me. I think maybe many young actors because of time issues. But the role I had on the Tomorrow People, I was, as always happens, I was being kidnapped. I was being held by a rapist, played by an actor named Ben Cotton, who's also amazing. But just that day, I booked. I was over a decade of battling Alzheimer's, and it was a sadness and a happiness for me. So it really took me to an emotional, amazing place, and I was so excited to see the footage when they cut it.
Disappointing.
Something I'm most proud of. I really enjoy the movie Mon Ami, and you can view it on iTunes. It's on Amazon. It's anywhere, and I really think it's a really fun movie, and it's a movie I enjoyed filming, and it's me getting to my deepest guttural, sad point, which I love to expose. I love being vulnerable like that. So that would be my favorite, I would have to say.
Okay. Is there one more? I think there was 2.
I mean,
I would probably mention the 100 if it was me.
Yeah, I'm. What I'm hesitant about mentioning the 100 is it's going to get better, and so I can't slip spoilers. But it is good, and it's going to get better. So yes, start it. Start from season 1 and go all the way up to 2, and it's good. It's going to blow your mind. I think once that's aired, yes, if I could then pick projects that are to be released, that will be one to check out.
All right. And now, what about the flip side of that? What if there was a generous hacker out there who was able to go into your IMDb page and eliminate 2 or 3 roles that you could really live the rest of your life without being reminded of, what would they be?
I'm tempted to say the Embrace of the Vampire remake for several reasons, but I'm also I err on the side of never looking back. So I'd want to keep them there. I've grown and I've made my choices, and they've brought me both positive and negative. But if I had to pick one, it would be Embrace of the Vampire. When we were filming, it was under a different name and an altered storyline to the original Embrace of the Vampire that I had no idea it was like a genuine remake. And as a horror fan, had I known I was making the genuine remake of Embrace of the Vampire, I think I would have done things a lot differently. Yeah, so I think that would be maybe the one that could just kind of disappear. That would be it.
And is there anything you've had to draw the line at in terms of the roles or things you've been asked to do in film?
I really think I owe my success to my ability to push myself. So that line has probably existed in many of my roles, and I found a way to push past it, whether it be violence or nudity or maybe themes or images I don't agree with personally. I've kind of pushed past them all, I would have to say. I mean, there's definitely scripts that I'm offered that I say no to. So there was a role on a TV show called Rogue that involved nudity, but it was a very big role. So I, as always, had to weigh the pros and cons of this. But I found out the director filmed in a very odd style, without privacy patches, without yelling cut, just go for it. And that's beyond my line. That enters into a different filmic reality than I think my talent deserves.
So does that mean for someone watching this suddenly going, oh, I should go look her up on Mr. Skin, they're not going to find it?
Not that one, no.
No. So I'm embarrassed that I'm even asking this, but you have done nudity for some roles?
Partial nudity in big budget feature films with big budget respectable directors. I mean, I think it's part of being an artist. I'm giving myself to the story and to the script, and I need to serve the character. And if the nudity does so, then it's something I will consider. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. And I'm just kind of skipping around here. I want to make sure I cover everything.
Of course.
So how did you get the role? I mean, we talked about what the original role in the 100 was, but how did you get it?
Well, I have a funny story about that too. It's just an audition as usual. Like I memorize the scene and then go be called in just for the callback. So an audition is a large amount of people called in for one role, and then they dwindle it down to the small amount of people they think are callback. I was able to skip the audition process and go straight to the callback, but when I showed up, everyone auditioning for Harper was actually a juvenile. So I thought, there's no way, I'm way too old for this role. Obviously the storyline entails that juveniles are landing back on Earth, and so I must be of that age. But I went for it. And at the end of my audition, when I finish an audition with directors who may be timid or quiet or not have much feedback, I like to make sure I've given them what they want to see. So I usually ask, is there anything else I can try? For instance, like with a different emotion or a different playing with the scene. But I was so nervous that I ended my audition and I looked the director dead in the eye and I said, is there anything else you'd like me to play with for you?
God. Oh.
It just came out like that, which is... I pulled it dead quiet and then I ran out of the room. And I drove straight to the liquor store, I'll have you know. I called my mother and I said, oh my goodness, I just did the most embarrassing thing of my career. Of course, it's a room of all male producers who I work with now, Jay Marchant and everybody, and thought that was it. There's no way I'm booking that role. And then my agent called and said I was on hold for it. And then I got that call that Friday that I had to rush in. So then I thought, oh, God, I booked the role. Do I have to put out now?
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
Obviously, no. Obviously, no.
I'm assuming, yeah. But
anyway, because I'm sure I left the room and they had a good laugh.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. The opinion in the room probably was, yeah, we want an adolescent for this. We want a teen for it. On the other hand, she could play a teen, and she'd be much more fun to have on set.
I don't know, but it's definitely one of the most embarrassing stand out, but I'm just so grateful to have booked the role, and I will never ever ask that question again.
Now you'll think of new questions.
Yeah.
All right, so listen, it's just you and me talking. What's going to happen to Harper?
There's there's some excitement coming. I'll let you know that. I live every episode not when we had the mid-season finale and I was left hanging, not knowing what will happen. Even I didn't know till the next script what would be happening, and I never know. So every time I get a script, I start from the last page and I search for Harper. Is she living? Which I feel bad. It does the Harper or the writer's job disgrace, but I myself never know what will be happening. I guess what I can say is we will definitely have a resolution to her pain, and she may get a chance at redemption.
All right. I should have checked this. I'm going on memory here. The lead-in to the 100 is Arrow, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better lead-in to the show.
Yeah, a fantastic following. The 100 has a fantastic following as well. Yeah, you absolutely could not, for sure. I think the problem with our rating system is that it judges people who watch the show live as opposed to Netflix or what have you. And The 100 was one of the first shows to have the honor of airing the very next day on Netflix after we have an episode release. So many people watch it on Netflix, including every one of my 50 family members. So we lose those ratings. To have anyone watching, and the people who care about the show and care about the characters of both Arrow and The 100 are so devoted, and I have so much fun talking to them on Twitter, and I think that's one of my really fun parts about this job that I really enjoy.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, folks, listen, you can see Chelsey Reist every Wednesday night for the foreseeable future. We don't know. We don't know what may the future may bring. It sounds like it'll be interesting though. So every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. On the 100, which of course is on the CW, which is on after Arrow, which you're probably watching anyway. So stay tuned if you haven't.
Yes. Yeah, and check it out on Netflix as well.
There you go. Website? Do you want people to come see you on?
My personal website, is just my name, ChelseysReist.com. You can Google it. I'm Chelsey with a Y and not an A. You can check me out there. You can shoot me an email, shoot me a tweet. I'm at Chelsey Reist. And let me see them.
All right. And Facebook too, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Same name.
All right. And wow. Quite a good conversation. Enjoyed very much getting to meet you. I'm so glad that I watched that sizzle reel. It was really entertaining. It was hard explaining to my wife that I was having you on. I said, I know you haven't heard of her, but the sizzle reel, it was just like I had to talk to this woman,
Oh.
So
I have to tell you before I let you go that I have yet to add another scene to the sizzle reel, which is what happened in The 100 recently when they drill into my butt cheek to steal my bone marrow. It's just so fantastic. I got a call from casting and they said, can you please head into the special effects studio early tomorrow morning? We need to make a mold of your butt. And I said, who gets a mold of their butt? Porn stars do that. I'm not getting a mold of my exfoliated. And I went in the next morning and have it on my Instagram. You can check it out. But yeah, they put this purple goop on my butt and it warms as it hardens, which was an interesting part of my job. Anyway, peeled it off. They made a fake butt and they packed it full of guts and blood. And then in The 100, they literally drill into the butt I'm wearing on top of my butt. And that has to make the sizzle reel. It's just more horror and more screaming that I just love too much.
I'm just glad people cannot see my expression while you were explaining about
saw
how it you could see me, but no one else
Yeah.
could. When you explained that it warms as it hardens, I thought I just
I
got
have to mention it because it surprised me.
Yeah.
It's an experience not many people have in their life, I would think.
Oh, God. Listen, I'm going to ask you the question I was not going to ask you. Married, involved, any of those kind of things? I'm sure guys want to know. Women,
Not married.
Probably guys and girls want to know at this point.
For sure. No, the only kid in my family not married. Not that I'm bitter. No, I'm kind of a solo bird. I lived alone for a decade. I like doing things alone. Obviously, I like to go out with friends, but I really enjoy my solace, and so far that's supporting me well.
Very good. Well, when the 100 wraps up its use for you, I think you got to get yourself a sitcom. I think you'd be really good on a sitcom.
I'd really enjoy that. Yeah.
I can see that.
Thank you. I've been on a hold for a few roles on sitcoms this year, but nothing's panned out yet. So
maybe one of those sitcoms where somebody dies every week, just
Yeah.
to kind of balance it out for you.
yeah,
Keep your
because
interest.
death is funny.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Chelsey Reist, thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Media. It was a pleasure to get to meet you today.
Hi, this is Buzz Burbank in the Buzz Burbank newsroom, preparing for you another Buzz Burbank news and comment. Do you like good stories? Boy, I sure do. I turn over a lot of stones each day to make sure I don't miss the best ones. Sure, some make me angry, and some make me sad, and some make me laugh, and isn't that what makes us human? I'm proud of the fact that I pack more news into my 10 or 15 minutes a day than the evening news does in a half hour. It's a free podcast at buzzburbank.com, or you can subscribe free at iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, or get it on any RSS device. It's like a newspaper for your head. It's Buzz Burbank News and Comment, another Realm Network presentation. Weekday mornings right here on the Realm Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to the George and Tony Entertainment Show. Prepare for awesome mediocrity.
We're the Cousin Oliver of the Realm Network. I'm George.
And I'm Tony.
And we're a weekly family-friendly podcast about pop culture.
From our point of view.
At realmnetwork.com, the George and Tony Entertainment Show from the Realm Network.
This is Snake. Do you read me, Otacon?
Loud and clear, Snake.
Did you listen to the latest episode of the Gaming Marathon on the Realm Network?
Of course. They really know their stuff about gaming, especially that Usad guy.
Yeah, but that Chirac guy is a real jerk. I don't like him.
Regardless, their reviews are spot on and they tell it like it is.
That's for sure.
What happened, Snake? Were you spotted?
Nah, it's just Lowell Melser crying about the O's again.
Close call.
I better continue the search for Metal Gear, but keep listening to the Gaming Marathon each week.
You got it, Snake.
New every Monday afternoon right here on the Realm Network.
It's the Mark and Lowell Show.
Hi, this is Mark. And this is Lowell. And if you're fans of Don and Mike, you may know who we are.
Our number one interns. You've met them on the show. They're the guys that ate all the junk, and they were outside with each other holding hands with a sign that said that they loved each other wearing the dunce caps.
And what you may not know is that we started out as fans back in their WAVA days.
Hi, Don and Mike. It's Mark and Lowell.
Oh, yeah. Hey, these are two guys that we once actually called them our proteges, didn't we?
And now we have our own show, so we want you to give it a shot. Just check us out at the Realm Network, realmnetwork.com, or you can go to markandlowell.com.
Resistance is futile. It's the Mark and Lowell Show.
Every Tuesday and Thursday evenings right here on the Realm Network. And catch the Poor Premium Show Friday nights.